This time, let's look at question 2 of the same paper. This is year 2016, paper 3 for high level. Have this image, this diagram in your paper. Do not miss any instructions, so look at all the working carefully. The image shows a severed aphid stylet embedded in plant tissue. What you have to do is, your action is to identify, so I circle this action word, identify the tissue labeled 2. Now identify means you have to write the name of that tissue. Okay, so what is it? This is the aphid stylet and it is embedded in this tissue. Okay, and what is it? Now, please go back to the PowerPoint that we used in our lesson. You look at the screen here. What we learned before is, this is aphids. So aphid, you can look at its mouth part. It will insert its mouth part into a plant phloem, because in phloem there is organic food, and this aphid depends on organic food for the nutrient input. So if you see the stylet in this tissue, it implies this tissue is phloem. Okay, now let me remind you of something. Now this aphid is inserting its mouth part. The mouth part is the stylet into the plant. This is the enlarged picture. So the stylet, and here is the mouth part, drawing the important nutrients into its body. Okay, and in the experiment, if we want to analyze what's in the phloem sap, then we allow an aphid to insert its mouth part into the plant, and then we get its mouth part severed. It means cut. Cut is stylet. The mouth part is the stylet. Cut it. And now this part is left on the plant, in the plant, and then the exudate, the liquid in it will exude out, and we analyze the nutrients in it, then we know what are in the phloem sap. So identify label 2. Label 2 is here. While we know 1 is phloem, 2 is right next to phloem with bigger cells, and it is nearer the center, so we know it is xylem. The answer is xylem. Then what about question B? The action word is for you to outline one piece of evidence. So this time in the line here, you have to write evidence that the tissue label 1 is phloem tissue. How do you know this 1 is phloem? So only 1 mark. This is very easy. I wrote an A here because I chose A in the marking scheme. But you can write, because your the stylet is found embedded here. The stylet is found embedded here. That's why we know this tissue is phloem, because only phloem will have this embedded here. Now, number 3 is a little bit more complicated. The action word, once again, now build a good habit, circle the action words. Explain how, the way, aphid stylets can be used to study the movement of solids in plant tissues. Now, this time, you have to focus on the movement of solids. Movement, underline this. Movement means something moves from one point to another point. Now, how do you study the movement from one point to another point? So you do not just tell people something is present, but you have to tell about their movement. So before I really write something on the lines, I have to draw something to clear my mind. I think it makes it easier. Now, this is the phloem. This is the phloem, and the dots represents the nutrients in the phloem. So if I assume the movement is from the left hand side to the right hand side, then the dots, the nutrients, should be more concentrated here on the left hand side than on the right hand side. I introduce aphids. Now, each one represents an aphid. So what about if I introduce three aphids? So if the particles flow from left to the right, then I will firstly find from the starlet here some organic food, and then sometime after I will find the same nutrients found in starlet B, the second starlet, and even more time later I will find the same food particles, food substance in the aphid 3, the starlet 3. But how do I know this is the movement? What should I look at? How do I make it easier for my observation? Now, in biology, it is very often that we trace the movement of something by introducing radioactivity. And in plants, we can introduce radioactive carbon because plants make use of carbon dioxide. So if I label radioactivity in CO2, then the food, the organic food it produces will also be radioactive. Okay, so if I look at aphid 1, time 0, then radioactivity is found in the starlets. Sometime later, T1, radioactivity is found here. Sometime later, in time 2, the radioactivity is found here in the third aphid. Okay, so now I have a complete idea of what I am going to write. Then I organize my writing. How do I write the idea? Now let's look at the suggested answer. I chose B, D, and F. B, plants grown in radioactive carbon dioxide incorporated into carbohydrates. And D, aphid body cut from starlets. F, starlets at different parts of the plant can show the sequence of the movements. Okay, now we can just condense the ideas in those words, make it simple, make it precise and concise. Many students, they write a lot of words, but I have to look through a lot of lines to just locate one key point. Avoid doing that. So condense your idea, use some accurate biology words to present your ideas.